Okay, and we are live for the Power Chat series, my second post show of the day and the last one. But I saved a great guest. We have, first of all, the post show is for Tony Young's year end nationals in Atlanta. And the guest we have on today, as you can see in the picture, is Willie Marshall. Willie is going to come on in just a second. Hide this picture and bring him on in 3, 2, 1. Willie, how are you doing today?
Good. How you doing?
Good. So you've been on the Power Chat series before because you've won obviously other tournaments, but glad to have you back on again. So let's start off with how you did at the year-end nationals.
Pretty good. I took first place for 50 and up division, and then uh, fought for the 40 and up grands, and I won that.
Okay, and you said pretty good. You're humble because you just listed off what you won. How did the fights go then?
The fights went well. There's always when you're fighting, I'm always my worst critic.
Mm-mm.
So I mean, two of my fights I beat them by the spread, 7 point spread, and then 10 point spread.
Mhm.
And then one was I think the score was 5-1.
Okay, so I would say you dominated, but you felt like you could have done better.
Right, there was some things. Sometimes I sit a little bit too long. So I saw some mistakes um, that I'm gonna be working on fixing.
Yeah. Now, when you say you saw, did you feel them in the moment or did you really just notice it after watching film afterwards?
A little bit of both, but I felt it um, in the moment um, where I knew I was sitting and certain things weren't quite coming together right. Um, so
Yeah. Okay. So now 3 total matches at the year-end nationals. Uh, 3 total, right?
yes.
Okay. All right. That's still a good amount of matches, relatively speaking, for 40 plus seniors, and also at kind of like a more regional tournament. What about the competition around you?
Oh, competition was great. Competition was really good. A lot of people came from out of state to compete. It was a lot of competitors there, so it was really good. Normally at Master Young's tournament, there's a lot of people that come in from out of state, and competition is good.
And you were in Atlanta, so you were also surrounded by your team.
Yeah.
How was that?
Oh, that's great. That's always a plus. You have your team cheering you on. My coach in my ear telling me what I need to do. So it's great to have your team around you. And also just being in Atlanta,
Mm,
um, the family. Like I've got like my team, and then I train heavily with Tony Young, as you know. So they're my family too. We're like all family. So
yeah.
it's a lot of energy. It's a lot of support, and
Did you get to stick around for any workouts while you were down there?
um no, actually, um I had to go leave the state to go to my parents' house the next day.
Okay.
So
Yeah, because I know that sometimes guys like to get some rounds in or get some workouts in while they're down there. But if you had prior obligations, that of course makes sense. Now, in terms of the tournament itself running, how would you say it ran logistically wise?
oh, it ran super smooth. But it always runs smooth. Tony Young, this is what he does. He does tournaments. He's had a lot of support. He just knows what he's doing. He knows how to
Mhm.
keep it running smooth. Um, so it's great. He had two big rooms set up. A lot of support. from that people like promoters that came from out of state to help out, and it just it went really smooth. I think we were probably done with everything by 3 o'clock.
Oh, that's good. That's
Right,
good. You
right.
didn't start. Did you guys? I've been noticing more often. Tournaments are starting crazy early. What time did you guys start?
9 o'clock.
Okay. I swear I heard a tournament start at like six something at some time this year. That's too much for me. I can't.
Right, I heard that too. I heard that.
I draw the line at like 8 o'clock. Like just that 9 o'clock start time is perfect though. Were you asked to judge at all, or did you
Um,
volunteer your services to judge?
so normally I always judge, but I did get there a little. I get there like 10 o'clock.
Mm,
So they had all of the rings set up already and the judges in place,
okay.
which was um which was a good thing. So I just ran around a little bit and grabbed some plaques for Tony Young and did a little bit, but I didn't really have to judge.
So this was a little bit more of a leisurely tournament for you, because I know juggling judging and then all the other responsibilities can kind of feel a little bit like work, but it's work for someone, who you're supporting, but still.
Right, right, definitely. Normally, um, if I'm competing, I don't like to judge, but with Master Young, what he does for
Mhm.
our whole martial arts community, I'll always judge and help out because he gives so much to us. Um, so
Yeah, and he's such a nice person. I've had a few interactions with him when they were doing the pro point, and he was judging for that as well. Just a very nice and genuine person, and it rubs off on all of his students, from like
right.
Kevin Walker to everybody else. Um, Now, since we last did the interview, do you remember what tournament that was for? What,
That was for King of New York, Jesse Reyes.
King of New York. Okay. Since then, has anything been new in your training regimen or in your life even?
Um, just just training, just training maybe a little bit heavier.
Hmm.
I feel like I've been improving. Um,
That's great.
just
And what makes you kind of feel like it? Because I also remember you won that last tournament. So sometimes it's hard if you're still winning to have a metric, but what's your metric?
um, well, I'm getting faster.
Okay.
Um, and techniques are getting faster. I'm doing different things. I normally fight a certain way, and a lot of people they look for that and they try to
Okay.
figure that out. Um, and but I train a lot of other stuff. So if you do have that figured out, I switch it up and do something else. So I've been doing that because a lot of people think they say we got a playbook on you
Oh,
because
like a blueprint.
I lean back, I wait for the defensive side. Like everybody knows that. So some people have kind of worked for that, but I've been able to pull out some other things, and so it's just overall improvement. And even when I win, I go home and I train like I lost because
Mhm.
I know if I lose, I'm training to try to beat that person that beat me. So I'm assuming that's going on.
Because they're training to beat you that next time. So there's kind of
Right.
like a target on your back where,
Right.
you have to be ready.
Right.
Is it refreshing to kind of, I don't want to say open up your arsenal, because it's probably stuff that's already in there, but to like reintegrate it into your competition arsenal?
Um, I don't know if I would call it refreshing. I guess it's I guess it's nice to
Mhm.
surprise people. They don't know that you have different things,
Mm.
Like
It's
at
like
this
the
tournament,
kicker. Yeah, go ahead.
they were saying, "I didn't know you could blitz like that. I didn't you never do it." Well, you know,
I can't heal.
r- right.
Gotcha. Okay. And so you won 40 plus grands. If you do, you remember who were some of the other competitors that were there?
The 40, the I hadn't seen them before, so yeah.
But also just like people not in your division.
Oh yes. So we had Jalen. We had okay, my mind's
See,
got it.
now I'm putting you on the spot, and it's like I remember seeing Danny Allberger on the flyer.
Yes, she
She was
won.
the
She
winner
won
finalist.
grands as well.
Um,
We had
I
like
was
a
seeing
suite for the
Kevin Walker.
grands.
Was
Uh,
Kevin there?
nah, Kevin didn't show up. We thought he was gonna show up, but
Maybe because it overlapped with Toronto, and I know that he was there. Not it didn't overlap, but
right, yeah, he's like all over the place.
yeah,
So sometimes he'll get stuck.
pulled in one direction.
Right.
Okay. Um, and then so you flew out for this for your parents. Was the year end nationals truly your last tournament?
Of the year.
Yes.
Yes, but we
Okay.
will we will be in Chicago in January. So
That's exciting. And you said that you've been ramping up your training. Is that still the plan, to continue ramping up into walking into Chicago?
yes, absolutely.
Okay, so
Um,
there's no like, do you take any rest, or is it just basically the same? Because I know it's a little different when you're not necessarily training for a tournament that's next week or next month.
yeah, nah, I don't really. I'm not really resting. I figure when I finish a season and I have some time to rest, you know, and being I'm gonna do next season. So
Yeah. Do
uh,
you so Chicago's a NASCA event. Do you put in points for NASCA tournaments at all?
normally I don't. I have in the past, but I thought about it this year, but I missed a couple of tournaments that I had planned on going to. So
Mhm.
so
Not this year. So you
not
won't be going to the banquet.
probably not. I'm
Okay.
gonna I'm gonna check the ratings because I do have some points in there and see. Maybe I might do it. I might.
Hmm. Okay. Um, but yes. So sorry, I thought that was my thing. That was yours. Now, uh, I mean, now, do you also have students that you teach as well, or?
No, no, not anymore. Now I'm just training. I've ran a school for 15 years, and it's like really like a full time job. It's like a
Hmm.
24-hour job. You just in order to be a good instructor, you have to
Commit.
really you have to live it
Mm.
and be a part of your student's life. Like, and I did that for 15 years, and now, I'm happy with training and just, I consider all the people that I train with at Tony Young School and Marcel Lazenby School. I consider them all family. But I don't really have any responsibility for them. It's different. I can help out, give tips.
Gotcha.
We can get better together, but I get to go home at the end of the day.
Hmm.
Whereas, if you have students, it's just different.
Yeah, it's like a second family. Kids, you got to be thinking
Right.
about too. How long ago did you stop teaching with your school?
Uh, Probably I've been down here 6, 7 years. Probably about 8 years ago, 8, 9 years ago.
Okay. Do you still see any of them on the competition circuit?
No.
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 Okay, so basically, it's just starting. You started anew with the people who are on your team or at your karate school as like a mentor role, but not necessarily a teacher.
Right. Right.
Okay, cool. So in your final takeaways from this year-end nationals, like whatever you were maybe reflecting on from the tournament or the whole entire season put together, what were some of like your martial arts or competitor takeaways?
Um, I guess just keep training, um, and keep training and getting better.
Mhm.
Um, so that's I guess just keep training and getting better. Yeah,
Okay.
keep training, getting better.
It's simple. It's that simple, right?
Right.
Because when you just always leave room for improvement. You don't set a ceiling for yourself, and so that's kind of what you hope for in the next year. Have you kind of thought about your goals at all for the next year?
So my goals for the next year are I would like to be like undefeated in my division. So
Yeah.
that's
How?
a big tall cup to hold on to because there's a lot of good fighters out there. So I'd like to be undefeated, and then also I'd like to be able to compete with the younger fighters,
Like the 30 plus, the next
even the
18
18
plus?
to 29s.
Mm.
Um, just in case, like we went to a tournament in South Carolina, and our younger guys were doing team fighting, and somebody got hurt, and I had to step in, and
And you have to be ready for it.
I was able to keep my fight with the 18-year-old guy to 3-3, which kept it even. So
Yeah.
I'd like to be. I don't want to do that like full time because my body is not going to hold up to that. But I'd like to be able to do that.
Yeah. Or even, for team situations like that, again, you can volunteer yourself or set or, even register with them.
Right.
Okay, cool. Now, last question. Was this how do you know what year the year end nationals, like what iteration this is? Do you know how long the tournament's been going on?
Oh, oh man.
If we
Uh,
had to give like a ballpark, if you can't give an actual year.
I'm gonna say I think he's been doing this for like ever. It's probably like 25 years.
Wow. And now the question for you is how many of those years have you been going to this and how many more do you assume you'll be going to?
So I've been going. I'm gonna say probably about 5 years.
Okay. 5 of the 25. Just a
Oh,
fraction of how long it's been going.
right, right, right. And I've won the senior grands either.
5.
I think three. Nah, I think it's 3 or 4 times.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been 3 or 4 times.
Okay. Is this something you'll go to again next year and for years to come?
Yes, yes, definitely,
Okay.
definitely.
All right. Well, that's a great way to end the post show for the year end nationals hosted by Master Tony Young in Atlanta with our guest, Willie Marshall, for the post show. So, Willie, thank you so much for coming on to the Power Chat series.
Thank you
I've
for
lost
having
count
me.
what time that you've come on, but I'm sure there will be more as the new season comes.
Cool, cool. Thank you so much.
And everybody, thank you so much for watching the Power Chat series, and I will catch you next week.